Welcome back to the 2020 Kids Brain Health Network Virtual Conference. Today is our final day of sharing, learning, and discussing best practices in the face of COVID-19. And our focus on this fourth and final day of the conference is policy and decision-making in a COVID-19 world. For those of you who don't know me, I'm your host, Dr. Brian Goldman. I also host the CBC radio programs White Coat Black Art and the CBC podcast, The Dose. And I can't believe that this is our last day together. We have gone from discussing accessing services to delivering treatments to moving online in a COVID-19 world, and with very good reason. As you probably know, we are in a very rough phase of the pandemic here in Canada. We hope that strong measures like a circuit break will help flatten the curve once again. Meanwhile, researchers, community agencies, and government officials have had to figure out new ways to develop, execute, and implement policy. So our sub-theme today is policy and decision-making in a COVID-19 world. So let's dive in. And please remember, for the best results visually, it's best to view the event page on a laptop or a desktop. And if you miss any of today's sessions, registrants can view it next week on our new YouTube channel, and you'll be hearing more about that in the days to come. First up on today's lineup will be a discussion on integrating rights-based frameworks into policy and practice. This panel of policymakers and community stakeholders will focus on their experiences integrating rights-based frameworks into policy, what can be learned from the COVID-19 pandemic, and reflect on key priorities and next steps to develop policy that facilitates full participation in society. You can jump into the chat for each session or submit your questions via the audience Q&A so that we can hear your thoughts. After integrating rights-based frameworks, we invite you once again to take a virtual step into KBHN's networking space for the exhibition and networking session, where you'll get a chance to witness the Family Partner Pitch Session. Our Family Partner Pitch Session will showcase creative pitch ideas from family partners that align with KBHN 3 areas of research focuses. They are early identification of developmental delays, effective treatment for neurodevelopmental disabilities, and support for families of children with neurodevelopmental disabilities. This is your final day to connect with like-minded individuals, to hear their ideas and learn more about the work they're doing. As always, you can find the link to the virtual networking platform to the right of this live stream. After your break and your virtual networking, join us back here on the live stream at 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time, that's 11:50 a.m. Pacific Time, as we convene our exciting final afternoon of sessions and we hear from our board members one more time. At 3 p.m., we have one of the highlights of this 4-day conference, the Road to Canada's National Autism Strategy, a session where trainees from the KBHN CASDA Policy Practicum Fellowship will reflect on and discuss learnings and findings from the policy development process towards Canada's National Autism Strategy, which is much anticipated. In this session, they'll focus on the collaborative process of researching international approaches and engaging with community stakeholders to develop policy recommendations in 5 key areas to inform Canada's National Autism Strategy. They are housing, employment, affordability and access, information, and research and governance. Key academic, government, and public health representatives will also provide their views and takeaways on recommendations and opportunities for developing Canada's National Autism Strategy. This is an event that has been a long time in making, and you won't want to miss it. And we wrap up the day with our final closing remarks for the conference with KBHN researcher and ASD clinician Dr. Lonnie Zwagenbaum, followed by my end-of-day reflections. We're going to begin our day, though, in just a few moments with some opening remarks from the Honorable Mike Lake, Member of Parliament for Edmonton, Wetaskiwin. Lake is the Shadow Minister for International Development and a parent of a son, Jaden, with autism. He is dedicated to increasing awareness and research about autism, and of course, I've done the same for my son Alex, who has fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. Mike has spoken at length about his own experience of seeking diagnosis and treatment for his son Jaden. That's a struggle with which I can empathize 100%. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Mike Lake to launch today's conference program. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Brian. And joined today, of course, by Jaden. Jaden, do you want to say hi to everybody? Say hi. Yeah. And Jaden, he's looking off to the side. We've got the agenda for the day on the side. So Jaden was scrolling it a little bit earlier, and I think he's particularly excited. He's always excited with agendas, but I think particularly excited about this one because there's a lot of people on there, right? You know Lonnie, who's at the end, and I'm gonna miss people if I start going down the list, but Jill and Debbie Irish and Brooke Pinsky, she's here in Edmonton, right? So lots and lots of those people. Natalie Garson, and we spoke. Do you remember when we did a TEDx talk with Jonathan Lai? Yeah, that was that fun, right? At York University. So lots of names there that he recognizes, and just excited. I haven't seen Jaden very much. It was his birthday a couple of weeks ago, right? And how old are you now? Do you want to show? Can they see? Hold up your hands a little bit higher so that they can see. Are you 25, right? Yeah. And hard to believe that he's 25 years old. My daughter was harassing me the other day and reminding me that I was married before I was 25 years old. So Jaden's 25 now. And when you got back, did we sing happy birthday to you? Do you like to sing sometimes too? I was going to put the video on, I thought, but I wonder if he's up to it. Do you want to sing? Do you know who else's birthday it is today? Now, I don't know if he's watching actually, because he's not on the agenda, but it's Stelios Georgiadis's birthday today, isn't it? Right? So why don't do you want to sing happy birthday? And maybe Stelios can see it. If he's not watching it now, he can see it a little bit later. And then everybody else can remember to send him a birthday note. So are you going to sing with me? Okay, ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Stelios. Happy birthday to you. There you go. So he likes to sing along, and it's kind of cool. I pointed out before, it wasn't something that he did all along, this idea of singing. He obviously sings, he starts when I start and he finishes when I finish, and always does it. Do you like singing the national anthem too, right? And other things. And it's interesting because he's clearly singing. I often wonder what it is that he's thinking as he's singing, or what it is that he hears himself singing. But usually when he's singing the national anthem, someone's first response, and this is partly why we have so much work to do. The first response by people is to turn around and almost be angry because they don't know what's going on. And then when they kind of realize a little bit more about what's going on, their tone changes, and usually it changes to smiles. But you like to sing, right? You like music. What else do you like to do? What did you get for your birthday? Do you want to show it off? Yeah, show it off. We can show it on the screen here. So hold it up high there. Yeah, so it's a puzzle, it's Lego, right? You like Lego, and you also like puzzles, right? And so much of what you're talking about in this seminar, obviously so impactful in Jaden's life. The fact that you should see him when he's doing this Lego or doing puzzles. He is so unbelievably quick doing them. So he's very, very skilled. And I think a lot of that comes from, the inclusion in the school system and his ability to work with students who took interests in the same things that he did and help cultivate this. When he works on a puzzle, he's just unbelievably fast. But the cool thing about it is he'll be working, and on this one, he's also very tired this morning. He was in Banff yesterday and got back late last night. So are you a little bit tired? Yeah. But when he's done the puzzle, he will come running to wherever we are in the room with a ba 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 and the massive smile on his face, pointing at the puzzle he just finished, or the Lego he just finished, which you did finish that a couple of days ago, right? And just so proud of the fact that he finished it, so proud at the sort of successes that he has. Oh, he's so tired this morning. But it's why what you're doing, all of you, is so important, is because we want Jaden. Jaden is just as excited when he's working. He used to work, and some of you have seen videos that I've shown in the past of him working in a school library, putting books away. Anything that involves taking something from one place and putting it in another place, things that are concrete. Jaden is just as phenomenal at those things as he is at working on puzzles and working on Lego. And there is a role for him to play in contributing those skills and abilities in meaningful employment. And so many of the people that are on this call at times in their life are working towards that type of outcome for someone like Jayden. Currently, he's in the Center for Autism Services of Alberta's Quest for Independence program, working on some things that will help him to be a little bit more independent and able to cultivate the life skills that he's also going to need to participate in the work environment. But there's a bright future for Jayden because, again, of the work that folks like you are doing and will continue to do moving forward. And so as I look at the names of the people participating today and look at the types of things that they've been working on the National Autism Strategy, on rights-based frameworks and those kind of things, again, the importance directly on Jayden's life and on people's lives, just like Jayden, is going to be impactful. And I was actually taking a look in my work as a member of Parliament at testimony from the Committee on Bill C7, the medical assistance in dying. And I wanted to kind of highlight, because you're going to hear from Krista a little bit later today as part of a panel on the rights-based frameworks. And I was reading some of the testimony from the committee hearing, and I came across this quote from Krista. And I just, as I was reading it, the just power and impactful, she said this, quote, "The lives of people with disabilities are as necessary to the integrity of the human family as any other dimension of humanity. And this threat to the lives of people with disabilities is a threat to us all," speaking, of course, about the medical assistance in dying, and very passionately speaking about that. But I love that the starting point of the quote, "The lives of the people with disabilities are as necessary to the integrity of the human family as any other dimension of humanity." And just to give you a little bit of an update on what I've been working on, alongside Jayden, sometimes with my staff who are on this call today and listening in. We've been working, in addition to the work that we've done over time, trying to help move momentum along with people like Senator Munson and Minister Coltrane and others who I know you've heard from during the course of this seminar, towards the National Autism Strategy over the years. We've been working also at an international level. So I'm actually not currently the shadow minister for international development, but working on the same types of things. And one of the things, in addition to sort of the maternal, newborn, and child health stuff that I've been involved in and other things, we've been spearheading. We had a conversation probably now a couple of months ago, Tim Shriver and I. So Tim's family, Tim is JFK's nephew. His mom founded Special Olympics. And we've had the opportunity, we started having this conversation about inclusive education at an international level. And we've since brought in partners to be part of that discussion, like Education Cannot Wait, like the Global Partnership for Education. These are the two massive international education partnerships that are working on education in the developing world. And we started talking about inclusive education because, as you can imagine, in parts of the world, someone like Jayden, someone with autism or another developmental disability, neurodevelopmental disorder, whatever terminology you want to use, would be considered a curse almost on a family in some parts of the world. Still, there is that heavy a stigma, and we really want to work with international development stakeholders like World Vision and Plan and Save the Children and UNICEF, and hardwire into the programming that they do as they're out there assessing the health of children under 5. There are a lot of programs and community health workers that are out there. We want on their radar to be looking for kids who have developmental disabilities like autism and others. And we want to work with stakeholders. So any of you that are on this call that also do some work beyond our borders and more at an international level, we would absolutely welcome you to the conversation. There's going to be a forum on December 4th, the day after the International Day for Persons with Disabilities. There's going to be a forum that includes Special Olympics, Education Cannot Wait. Inclusion International is a big part of the conversation, and the International Disabilities Alliance. around disabilities and education in the developing world. And so excited about the fact that that we've had this opportunity to kind of help spearhead this and drive this agenda along the same lines as the work that has been done around a national autism strategy. And I'll say this because there are so many of the stakeholders that are part of the day-to-day and have been parts of the 4 days that you've had of the conference before this. The pattern that we set in motion, we went through, and many of you will remember, several years of having the same conversation every single year about a national autism strategy and the need for it. But we didn't gain traction. We didn't gain traction year after year. It was kind of a similar conversation, and we could sense, everybody could sense that there was a growing frustration with that. But it was because of so many of the stakeholders that you have involved in the Kids Brain Health Network starting to come together, and rather than have the same conversation, realizing that we needed to find some common ground. We may not agree on everything, and too often we spend our time talking about the things we don't agree on, but there were a lot of things that we do agree on. There are a lot of areas where we can find common ground, and if we focus on those things, we can really build on that common ground that creates a foundation. And really, I think the last 7 years have been building momentum and moving towards something that's pretty special. And the interesting thing about it is that in moving towards that thing that's going to be really special, the national autism strategy on the autism side, in moving towards it, I think that we've made great steps in a whole bunch of areas, even as we've been moving forward towards that. So I think of Ready, Willing, and Able, for example, as one example of a program that helped us in that way. If you even go a little bit before the 7 years that I'm talking about, the foundation of NeuroDevNet, which turned into the Kids Brain Health Network, a huge step forward in terms of Canada's approach to helping people with neurodevelopmental disabilities. And so very exciting to have had the opportunity to now take what we learned from that in terms of common ground and the inspiration of seeing these stakeholders who had each so much invested in their own organizations be able to set aside the specifics of their organization, bring the very best to the table, and work together to get where we are now. So we are incredibly excited about that. If people want to take part in that, please feel free to reach out to our office. If you're doing work on education at more of an international level, we'd be glad to include you in that conversation. And so I think we're going to wrap up soon. Now, Jaden took a little bit of a break, right? Did you take a little bit of a break for this and have a good nap? Yeah. But I think we're going to wrap up pretty quickly here. So why don't you take a look up there at the camera? Okay. And we're a little bit early, but it'll allow you to kind of get on with your day a little bit sooner and allow Jaden to maybe have a little bit more of a nap. Do you want to have a little bit more of a nap when we're done here? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to look up there and you're going to say bye to everybody. Okay. Bye. Bye. Thank you so much for including us in your event. Bye. Bye.
Thanks a lot, Jaden, and a belated happy birthday to you. Many thanks to the Honorable Mike Lake for that most meaningful welcome. This is what the work of KBHN and this conference is all about. And I have to tell you, Jaden, my son Alex loves Lego as well. I hope we can get the two of you together. Alex built an electric bike from scratch, and I have to tell you that it's way cool. I appreciate what Mike said about many things, including things like MAID and the rights of people with disabilities, and he is not the first person to have articulated that point of view. I would agree that inclusive education is not just a priority, it should be a right. But